So I used to do some work in the schools, and I used to do some work at Edwards. I think that's where I ran up on Mari. But you know, so I try to stay connected. I still do some work. Right now, I'm working more with teachers. But my friend here gave me a call about a month ago and was saying, "Yo, what do you think about, you know, trying to take some students to go see this Black Panther movie?" And I was like, all right, it sounds cool. But I didn't really know what the Black Panther movie was going to be about. So when we started doing a little research, we saw that the movie is based on a lot of real history and real things that are happening. And with that, we felt like we had something valuable to share with y'all. So I didn't want to just show folks the movie and then, you know, it's a good movie and, you know, it'd be as simple and surface as that. So that's you know, what we're thinking about in terms of what we're going to try to give y'all today. Let me think. Let me, real quick, by show of hands, who's seen the movie already?
Yeah. Okay.
That's a few? Okay, that's cool.
And it's okay if you've seen it. No
by show of hands, who's interested in seeing the movie? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I think we're in good shape. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, okay, so y'all know my name is JP. All right, that stands for John Paul. And so I figured before I go any further, I let y'all know where I'm from and why I'm here, right? I think it'll make more sense the more we go into this. So I am originally from South Africa. Y'all know where that's at, right?
Yeah.
Land of diamonds.
Yes, sir. Diamonds and gold. Yes, sir.
That's it.
So I'm from South Africa now. Specifically, I'm from a place called Wandengezi. Can y'all say that real quick?
No.
You're gonna bite your tongue if you try. Wandengezi. There you go. Wandengezi. That's where I'm from. There it is. Now that area is within the Zulu land. Have you ever heard of the Zulus?
No.
You never heard of Shaka Zulu?
I have.
Y'all look him up. Shaka Zulu, he's one of our most fierce warriors. He defeated over 1,300 British colonialists, over 1,300 with just spears. So they were shooting, and we had nothing but spears, and we fought them and won. So even in regards to when it comes to the army, and when it comes to tactics of approaching the enemy, they still use Shaka Zulu strategies even till today, okay? So that's how important we were when it came to war, but most importantly when it came to thinking and critical thinking. So where I'm from, I had the opportunity to learn things like that about people like Shaka Zulu who came before me, 300-400 years, you know what I'm saying? So, but what I want to do for you guys is I want to share that type of information with y'all too, because some of y'all, believe it or not, y'all are from the same area I'm from. Y'all are from the same continent I'm from, you know? Yes, some of us grew up here. Yes, some of our relatives, you know, our grandparents, great-great-grandparents and all that are from here and in the South and this and that. But we know how we got here, right? Especially when it comes to African Americans. We know how we got here in America, right? How is that?
Slave.
Okay, that's one of the ways. One of the ways that we got here was through the slave trade, exactly, right? Now, the unfortunate thing about the slave trade is, what does it do to somebody's history in regards to where they're from, who their family is, what they like to eat, their music? What does that do when you take someone away from that?
Destroys their heritage.
It takes it away from them, right?
Yeah.
So then when you fast forward, and then I come to you and I go, man, well, you know, tell me something about where you're from. It's hard for you to do that, right? Because you've been taken away from that, right? So right now, if I ask you, what's your name again, bro? Demetrius. Where are you from? Okay, just tell me where you think you're from. Where you think you're from? Or as far as you know. Okay, that's pretty good. Where were you born? Okay, where about in America? America's pretty big. Oklahoma? Where about in Oklahoma? Oklahoma's pretty big.
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Okay, right? So you're born in Oklahoma City. Now, does that mean you're from Oklahoma City?
No.
Exactly. Why is that?
Because their assets.
There you go. Because your roots are not from there. Where your roots are is where you were from, right? So the same way, if you are like right now, if you're an American soldier, right, and you go to China, They station you in China, and then you have a kid there. Is that kid gonna be Chinese?
No,
Why?
because he's American.
His roots are here. Exactly, right? So now when we go back further with those roots, that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about. And that's what I'm here to relay to you guys when it comes to the Black Panther movie, okay? You see these kids up here. Some of them look just like y'all. What's the difference between them and y'all? That's exactly right. There's nothing at all. The only difference is y'all are here and they are there. That's it. Besides that, we are all one. We are all the same. And most importantly, and what a lot of y'all don't know, is how old. Do y'all have any idea how old we are? As Africans, as dark-skinned people, do you have any idea how old we are? Guess. Just guess. Give me a number. Give me a number. Huh?
2000.
2000 what? 2000 years? Okay, that's a good guess. No. But give me a number. 500 years? 5,000? No. Give me a number. Quick, give me a number.
9 billion years.
I like his answer a little more. Because you know what? What'd you say? Say that a little louder, brother.
Billions.
Say it a little louder, brother.
Millions.
And give you that. Millions of years. And I can prove it. Y'all can prove it yourself. I'll let you do the research yourself. Google 3.2 million year old skeleton found in Africa. And guess where it's found in Africa? Because remember, like we said, Oklahoma's a big place. Africa's a big place. So in Africa, they found the skeleton in Ethiopia.
Y'all know where Ethiopia is?
Ethiopia. Yes. That is in middle Africa. But Ethiopia took up a huge landmass of Africa, because at one point in time, it was as big as middle and North Africa. But at the end of the day, it's telling you that your heritage and your culture is so old that people, they don't even understand. The scientists of today, they don't even get it. They don't get it.
So let me give y'all something to think about. So what's this year? So 2018, right? If we're living in quote unquote 2018, and so that's 2018 years. What happened to everything before 2018? What happened? It's like it don't even exist.
We don't even know about it, right?
It's like it don't even exist. So whenever you think about your heritage, you have to keep certain things in mind. Like there was the Chinese New Year was not too long ago. They have a whole different year. They're not going off of 2018. They're going off of their calendar, which is connected to their culture, right? So if you think about the year that it would be for Africans, it definitely wouldn't be no 2018. You follow me? 2018 is the Greco-Roman calendar. So when you go back to Rome, when they started counting, they had their civilization together, they started counting, we got 2018 years.
Well, then let me touch on that just real quick, and I'm not going to go too deep in all that, but in regards to what you're saying, the Greco-Roman calendar, when we want to talk about the Romans, we've heard about the Romans, right? When we want to talk about the Romans or any type of human being that started to become lighter than people out of Africa, that started happening 8,000 years ago, okay? So, like...
Even before...
So like Caesar just said, yeah, like, so it's 2018, right? And so if we want to subtract 8,000 years, so we're going to go, so it's 2018, we subtract 2018 years, right? Now we're back to 0. Now, what's left? 6,000 years, right? Because we took 2 off of it, now there's 6 left, boom, 8,000. So 6,000 BC, right? Now, that's where we're at. That's when they started making calendars. When I just told y'all that they found a skeleton of us 3.2 million years ago, right? There's a big difference there, okay? So I just want to stress to you guys how old, how long you guys have been here. When I say you guys, is because your DNA, who you are, what you look like, is because it's an accumulation, it's a collectiveness of all the people that came before you, right? You might look like your dad, right? You might walk like your cousin. You might walk like your uncle. You might smile like your cousin. These are all people that came before you, and now they make you up, right? So understand that at the end of the day, these are all breadcrumbs of our history, okay? I want y'all to remember that.
Yo, hit your mic.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so this presentation is called the Black Panther Connection. It is the return of the ancient African civilizations, okay? So the main reason why you guys are here is because I want you guys to understand why this movie is so important, okay? So when I say my intent, what do I mean when I say that? What does intent mean? Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
What does it mean when I say my intentions? What does that mean? What am I trying to say?
Trying to teach us something.
My purpose, yes. My reason, right? Why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Why.
Why, exactly. So the main reason, what I want you to take away from this when y'all leave, and when y'all watch the movie, and when you're happy and all the cool stuff is going on and things exploding, and you pick your favorite character, what I want you to understand that every little piece of this movie, the only reason why it is even made and it is as cool as it is because of the relevance of ancient African cultures. If it wasn't for the cultures that came before us in Africa, they would not even have the ideas to put together this movie. Because these things, believe it or not, they actually happened. They happened. Y'all might not believe me, but they happened. Okay? So, and then another thing is, there's a lot of civilizations and organizations that came before us that helped shape the movie, and even the Black Panther Society or the group or the, y'all heard of Black Panther before this movie, right? Okay, so it's been around, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're also going to talk about the fact that it is a movie filled with nothing but people that look like you. And y'all know that that's seldom that we see that, right? Most movies, it's usually funded by somebody else, and they got maybe one or two of us in there, right? So this is a change, and this is a chance for us, for you guys, to see yourselves in positions of power, right? Okay? Now, the movie itself, it correlates these African civilizations, obviously with the movie, but most importantly, what it touches on, which I want y'all to pay attention to when you watch the movie, is, and I'm sure y'all have seen the previews,
that need defense, that are not in a position themselves to help defend themselves.
So we see that T'Challa, who was the Black Panther of that day, we see him fighting the Klan, doing what like you were saying, like Ryan Coogler was saying, defending the community, right? Because it's not about being a superhero, it's about getting rid of evils, by getting rid of imbalances within our community, all right? Okay, so now to the Black Panther storyline. Does anybody know somewhat about the Black Panther storyline? At least the ones who haven't seen it. Do y'all have a good idea of what it's about? Somewhat? That? A little more to it, but okay, so at the end of the day, there was a 10,000-year-old meteorite, right, that landed on Earth, right? And when it landed on Earth, it landed in Africa in the area of the Wakandians, right? And so this meteorite, when it landed, it created a certain type of energy. And this energy was so profound and so kind of powerful and overwhelming and important that the Wakandians decided to protect it, right? So they, along with other tribes, kind of got together and said, listen, we're going to protect this on behalf of our tribe and our lands, and we'll die for it, right? And so now what happens is, what I'm trying to compare to the meteorite is, there was a mineral out of it called vibranium, which is what they use to metal shape, okay? So what I want to compare that to actually what's going on out here is, we all have cell phones, right? We all got laptops and computers and iPads, right? Do y'all know that there's a certain mineral that makes all these cell phones run? And it's called coltan. C-O-L-T-A-N, okay?
Anybody have an idea where it might be found?
Guess where they find it?
In Africa. You got it.
You understand what I'm saying? So without that,
none of this is going to work.
none of this. No iPhone, nobody get an iPhone without Africa today. So today's vibranium is coltan, okay? So now, after this, after them protecting the vibranium mound, what they realize is, because of the technological advances that they're making, so they realize that, look, we got to protect this thing and make sure nobody knows about it, because in the wrong hands, just like anything else, right, that's powerful, a gun or anything, right? Anything else that's powerful, if it's in the wrong hands, it could be used for wrong things, okay? All right, next slide. So, I just told you guys that the movie starts off with a meteoric a meteoric rock hitting Africa and creating this vibranium, right? So when we want to talk about the real story, believe it or not, there was actually meteoric rock that us in Africa were using to make jewelry. Do y'all believe me or not? There was actual meteoric rock that was made to use, that was used to make jewelry, iron beads, that is. And guess how old these beads were? 5,000 years old. They do this thing called carbon data testing, right? And so everything in life has carbon in it, right? And so when you, like, for example, like when you look at a tree, how you can tell how old a tree is, they'll chop the tree and there's rings within the tree, and that tells the age of the tree, right? So the same way how you can tell the rings in a tree is the same way is that they would use the carbon testing. It'll tell how old something is, right? And so when they tested these beads, come to find out, these beads were made around 3200 BC, right? So that's roughly about 5,000 years ago, okay? So, and mind you guys, these are beads, right? Like, right now you can go buy some beads for $1 somewhere. Like, beads are not that special, right? So I'd like to assume, even back then, beads weren't that big of a deal.
Well, let me say this, though. Let me say this.
Sure.
So whenever y'all go see the movie, though, and I want you to keep that in mind. Think about the beads that were being used back in the day for jewelry and how they could possibly be used for other things if you had the right technology.
Right. So when we're talking about, you know, I just touched on the fact that there's, you know, when y'all both agreed with me too, there's gold statues in Africa, in Egypt, which is in Africa, but there's gold statues, right? So taking a necklace, a bead, and then comparing it to a statue, that's night and day, right? Of metal shaping, right? So it's like if you made some beads and then I made a gold statue, who's better at metal shaping? Who's really going in when it comes to metal shaping? You understand? Exactly, right? So that's just showing you how advanced we were back in that day, 3200 BC, and these are the real beads, but obviously they look a little old now, a few thousand years old. Next slide, brother. Okay, so now Egyptian blacksmith. Now this is to show y'all that back in those days, y'all know what hieroglyphics are, right?
Yeah.
What are hieroglyphics?
Egyptian picture.
Nice.
Hey, yo, yeah, I'm gonna dap you up on that one, brother. I like this. Egyptian picture words. That's kind of like one of the, I like that. I'm gonna use that actually. That's exactly kind of what it is. They're ideographs, right? And they're supposed to represent an idea as opposed to just a word. So it's a picture that speaks. You ever heard that saying? A picture speaks 1,000 words? That's where that comes from, right? Because a lot of things we see, if you see an eye, if you see, let's say this is just a wall, right? If you just see an eye and you see a U, no, you see an I, you see a heart, and you see a U, right? Right now, we would think that means I love you, okay? But, that's what I'm saying, that could mean a whole lot of different things in ideographs. It's just because now we have narrowed down our way of thinking in regards to putting letters in our representation as opposed to ideographs and hieroglyphics. So, back to that previous page, please. So, in regards to that this is telling us not only the art, but the process of the blacksmithing. You remember how CJ was just telling you guys that you're stoking, you got it in hot fire? This is showing how you do it with gold. This is showing, and these are on the walls of Egypt. This is showing how you do it in gold, with gold. And what color them people? What color are you? Do y'all see that? Y'all see that? These people look like you. They look like you. Next one. They look like you. Okay, so now we want to talk about the meteoric iron again, right? Have y'all ever heard of the Teenage King? Y'all know who the Teenage King is? King Tut. That's your man. Okay, I see you wake up on that one. That's your man, King Tut. Now, when they went into his tomb, you see, that's the thing too. It's like the people that went in his tomb, they didn't know, they never been there before, right? So they're coming in and they're digging things up, and because they don't understand it, because they're not from there. So they're coming in, they're digging things up, and then what do they find? They find a whole bunch of jewelry, they find a whole bunch of stuff, but most importantly, they find these daggers right here, right? And y'all see these daggers. Look at these daggers. One dagger is a gold dagger, and one dagger is a metal-looking dagger. Now, which dagger would you want? The gold one, right? Now, let me tell y'all this. Do y'all understand that this dagger is over 3,000 years old? 5,000 years old. Do you understand that this is a meteoric dagger made out of meteorite? That is why you see rust on this one, and you see no rust on that one. You know why? It's because what this was made out of came from the stars. The same place where when we watch the movie, the vibrator, the same place. And this is out here, this is today. This right now, they got this put up in the museum in England, right now. And it's just like this. It ain't rusted not one bit. The reason why is because it's from the stars. And not only is it from the stars, but then we had possession of it, and we knew how to shape it, and we were so good at it. We made statues, and we made daggers, we made necklaces, all of that, right? So this is to show you that vibranium that they talk about in the movie, the teenage King Tut had his own. He had his own. How old are y'all? 14. You understand that man? You know he was running things at that age.
14.
He was running things at that age, running millions of people, controlling millions of people, trade, building statues. This is your culture. This is your history. That's why when you see the LeBron Jameses at 18, 19 years old in the NBA making millions of dollars, it's because he's 19 years old, making millions of dollars. 14-year-old teenage king. Same difference. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. At young ages, we do big things. It's always been like that with us. It's always been like that. Okay.
Yo. Yeah. So let me just speak real quick to a leopard versus a panther. Okay. There really is no difference. A leopard is a spotted panther. So when you see a Black Panther is basically the same animal, it just has more melanin. It's got its pigment a lot more dispersed throughout the fur of the animal. Does that make sense? So when we talk about leopard societies, we're basically saying the same thing as Black Panther societies or Panther societies. All right? Now, what's really interesting about the leopard societies in history is that the leopard societies were, in most cases, the same groups of people that did metal work. All right? So what you're going to find is you're going to start seeing these connections in the things that they have in the movie and what was going on in real life in Africa, in the cultures in Africa. So not only would they be metal workers, but oftentimes they would be the priests and the healers. So they would be the doctors. These would be like high scientists. Does that make sense? So whenever you start looking at these groups of people, they were often the most educated and the most skilled of the people that they were living in the community. All right? You can hit the next one. I think we kind of spoke on this already.
Sure.
Yeah. So, just to give you an example, this is a real life brother who is a representation of a person in the leopard society. You can see the leopard skin that he's wearing. All right?
And in South Africa, we call them sangoma. Can y'all say sangoma? Sangoma, yes. That means healer in our language, in Zulu.
So like I said, you'll find them as a healer, work together to increase their knowledge and to make sure that they were able to continue to do what they do without it being diluted or misunderstood.
And into the wrong hands.
And get into the wrong hands. Does that make sense, y'all? Like if you got something that's really special, you want to protect it and make sure it don't get, misunderstood or taken and get twisted into something different that you don't want it to be. Okay, so what I'm showing you this for is to give you an understanding of how far back we were doing this in terms of the leopard societies and the groups of people that were doing the metal work and that were healers and the scientists. This is coming from the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, or what we call the metunater. The hieroglyphics is a Greek term for metunater, okay? And you can see what he's rocking. He got him a leopard skin on, right? I mean, nowadays, folks wearing leopards or leopard skin, it's like a fur coat, right? You think they got a whole bunch of knowledge? They're typically some scientists or got some metalworking skills or can heal you. And now it's more for what? Why are they wearing it? Because they think it look cute, right? Not only did we think it looked good, but it had meaning behind it. It represented something powerful. You can go to the next. So to give you an example, this is today a modern woman who is a part of a leopard society. You can see she represented what on the wall, okay? And to give you an understanding, this is modern day South Africa, where Egypt is on the other end of the continent. So if you were, to give you an example, if we were saying New York is way up here in the corner, right, on the East Coast. And then you had, let's say, the south end of California, right? That still doesn't even compare to the distance that you have between Egypt and South Africa. But what I'm trying to give you an example of that because we had these folks with the healing skills, the scientific skills, and the leopard societies from the top of the continent all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, because guys, we have to understand the fact that, you see, a lot of people try to separate Egypt and Africa. A lot of times when y'all hear about Egypt, you don't hear Africa right after that.
Y'all ever heard somebody say the Middle East? Yeah. Okay, so where's the Middle East? In the middle of what?
You see what I'm saying?
The east.
So,
is there a middle north?
Is there a middle south?
Is there a middle south? You see what I'm saying? Now, would y'all believe me if I told y'all that the Middle East is actually connected to Africa? You see what I'm saying? Now let me tell you why.
Parts of the Middle East are in Africa.
And let me tell you how it's connected to Africa. Y'all heard of earthquakes, right?
Yeah.
Y'all know what causes earthquakes?
Yeah.
There we go. Man, this is my guy right here. I like all you guys, but this guy's killing it. Y'all better catch up. I'm digging. Yes, the tectonic plates, right? When they get to moving, that's what causes the shaking, right? So the African tectonic plate is what Israel and a lot of the Middle East actually sits on. And what people people don't know that, you know, is that under the ocean is where all the continent sits under this plate. So just to kind of touch on that, I just wanted to make sure I stress that fact that all of that land is actually belongs to Africa because it sits on the same plate. It sits on the same plate as Africa.
You can go to the next.
Okay.
So to give you an example of how not only were we engaged in the science and the healing and the metalwork way back in the day, but we're doing it today, not only in Africa, but you see, this is North America. Okay? This is North America. And what's this behind them?
Black Panther.
Exactly.
But it is a jaguar. But what a jaguar? What is the similarities with a jaguar and a leopard?
They both have spots.
They both have spots. Most specifically, they both have the rosette spots, right? The jaguar is a stockier animal because of the terrain that it's on, right?
Right.
So the exact same way that you see a python in Africa, you know whose cousin is in South America? Can you guess? What type of snake in South America looks like a python? Anaconda. Does it not do the same thing a python does? That and they'll both big and they both constrict you.
Right,
yes,
right.
because they're cousins. So my point is that the jaguar is cousins to the leopard. Okay? Crocodile. Where's the crocodile at? No, crocodile is in Africa. And then who's his cousin? Exactly.
Right.
Where's the alligator at? It's in South America. Exactly. All right.
So what we want to get y'all to understand is we were traveling the globe way before, let's say, Christopher Columbus. And we took our culture, our science, and we took it with us wherever we went. So when we came to North America, we were doing the same metal work, the same scientific work, and doing our thing here as well. You can go to the next. This is an example of a person that represents a Leopard Society in South America. So the point is, I'm trying to get you is to understand is that we were taking our culture, our science, and spreading it throughout the world, okay? The music don't cut on, so we're gonna take a quick pause real quick, so we don't have to compete with the music.
So what do y'all think? Are y'all digging this info or what? Tell me what's sounding cool to y'all. Like what's sticking out? Animals?
Okay.
What about it? Right on. Okay. What about you? Anybody? What about you? I know my man here like King Tut. I know my man here like King. Huh? In a tomb? Right. King Tut's tomb. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? The accents? You like the accents? I like that. I can dig it. I can dig it, Mom. I can dig it. Right on, man. You see, this is the thing about it, guys, is that the more you guys know about where you come from, what's that gonna do? So if I know where I come from, what's that gonna do?
You know more information about yourself.
No, you know more about yourself.
Yes.
And
you know where you're going.
It helps you to
You know what you're gonna do.
what you got to be able to do something with.
You know what you have to do, right? You know what's important, right?
So I got a question for y'all. Y'all saw them doing metal work with gold, right? How many in here like gold? Okay. So you had a king who was 14 years old who had statues made up of him in gold. Not only was he rocking jewelry and chains and whatnot, but he had a whole statue made that looked just like him, made out of gold. Do y'all think you all could learn to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it what's y'all favorite subject in school? Math? Okay. What you say over here? Okay. Is anybody teaching on how to work with gold? And were created by us. All right? You can hit to the next one. All right. So one of the significant parts of the movie is the fact that Wakanda has to protect itself, right? And Wakanda is protected by the female warriors, okay? Now, this idea of a female warrior didn't just come out of the blue. They weren't just thinking, what can we do interesting and creative and make this movie? No, they came because this is actually how we used to get down. Female warriors is not a new thing. So when you talk about this idea of women not only being a part of the military, but being the military.
Right.
Being the complete military.
Well, and another thing too, what I want to stress about the woman too, guys, is that, what do we call the place that they call Africa? What do we call it? Motherland, right? Right? What do we call nature? Mother Nature, right? The woman is the most important thing on this earth. Why? It's because you would not be walking this earth if you did not come out of the womb of a...
What's more powerful than being able to create a life? Can y'all think of anything more powerful than that? Being able to save one.
Man,
right.
Well said. Well said.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And women have the ability to save the child and let the child survive off of its body.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Man can't do that.
Well, then, and then also, guys, if you look at it too, see, a lot of these things, guys, you see, you know, sometimes we don't know what right and wrong is. Or sometimes we do and we ignore. But let me tell you this. The easiest way to find out what is right and what is wrong is, you try your best to look at what happens in nature. That's what you try to do. You compare it to what happens in nature, okay? Now, just like life, there's some things in nature that are unexplainable, right? And there's some bad parts of it. But it's just like life. The only reason why they're bad parts is so you can appreciate the good. So my point is that even in nature, who goes out and does the hunting when it comes to lions, when it comes to leopards or anything? Who does the hunting?
I mean, when
Yeah, y'all, you going out to get the food. Because y'all are the most fierce. Y'all are the most fierce. I'm not saying that we're less than. It's just there's a certain level that there's something different that y'all can do. Okay? So yeah.
You can hit the next. So, has anybody heard the term Amazons?
off of Amazon, you can order off of
You
Amazon.
sure can, absolutely, absolutely.
The Amazon force.
But y'all, you've heard this term before?
There it is.
There
it is.
I don't know. I mean, do they connect Wonder Woman with Amazon?
Yeah. See the story of y'all tell CJ
I'm
the
not
story.
familiar with the Wonder Woman story.
Y'all tell CJ the story.
So basically, she was raised from a queen from the Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, these are the sisters that you gonna find in the Amazon. Okay? Now I don't know how Wonder Woman ended up looking like she looks when this is who she's supposed to be birthed by, but you know, this is what we're working with. Now, this is just another example of how you would have females running the military. Just to give you an example, do y'all have any idea of when women were starting to participate in the United States military?
Like 1936?
36?
Before that?
After that.
1950s?
2008.
Maybe the 70s. 2000.
So, say that again?
The age.
He said, I don't think I'm throwing it out there.
So this is something that is something that is new, okay? And even after they were able to become a part of the military, they didn't get a chance to start fighting until even later. All right? So what you have to understand is, in America, we've had issues, Americans have had issues with equality, allowing black people or Latino people or women to do the same things that European or white people have been able to do, right?
Right, like right now in the army. Sorry.
You're fine.
Right now in the army, how many? Is there more men or more women in the army right
More
now?
men.
More men, right? Now, when it comes down to it, you can shoot a gun just as easy as he can, right? Okay. So what does it matter what someone looks like under their clothes, right? That's exactly the point.
So I wanna speak on this just real quick. So there was a place in this part of the world called Haiti. Anybody heard of Haiti? Haiti, yeah. Okay. So Haiti was known for having the one place where it had the biggest slave uprising and revolution, right? So the people that were there, that were enslaved, they, with their machetes, were able to beat their enslavers and even the armies that came and tried to take it over, all right? What was so special about this is that it was the women who were using their intuition. Have you ever heard of a woman's intuition? Or intuition in general? Right? So what does that mean? What we're talking about?
A woman's instinct? Yeah.
The instinct,
Wow,
exactly.
there it is.
Good job. So the instinct, it's when you got a sense that, you know, maybe you thought about somebody and then a couple minutes later they call you or hit you on a text. Or when you think about something and before it happens. These are...
You just have a bad feeling. Man, I don't want to go to this thing.
Right.
Man, I don't want to be around these people. You just have that feeling, right?
Or you walk in a room And you know, you're like, yeah, something don't feel right. You know, you ever had those kind of feelings before? These are the instincts, and it is known, or you could say people believe that women are typically more sensitive. They're able to pick up and are more pay attention to their instincts more, right? Now, imagine if you have those type of skills and you're at war. What could you do with that?
Use it to fight.
Yeah, so how could you use it to fight? You could use protect. In what way? Give me an example.
There you go, strategies.
Strategy, exactly. Exactly. So you could say, I got a good feeling tonight might be a good night to attack. Or I don't think it's gonna be good to do anything tonight.
It's raining today.
Right. Let's take a pause.
Right.
So those are the things that often women are said to be able to have more skills in, and one of the reasons why it may be more valuable to have women in your military helping to protect you. All right?
And point out that leopard skin on it.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all see that leopard skin on it, right?
Just if y'all didn't notice, the leopard skin is still doing its thing. We're still running the Leopard Society.
Right, and guys, and let's not get it twisted. A panther is a leopard. It's a fully melanated panther.
It's just a black one.
What do I mean when I say melanated?
What's melanin?
No. Oh, no. It's the opposite of that. It's
So
not
melanin-
all the color.
Melanin is the pigment in your skin that gives you color.
Let me get him, CJ.
So the more melanin you have,
Let me get him.
the darker
let me get him.
you are.
Listen to me, y'all. He said no color. When you take colors and you mix them all together, blue, green, you take every color, you mix it all together, I bet you black is the color you get. I bet you money is black. Brown too. Brown, you're exactly right. What color is this? What color is this? I am the absorption of all colors. All colors. You see, melanin, it is a natural substance that is within us, right? And like I said, it holds cold, right? The same way your DNA, right? When you're, huh? Go ahead.
Melanin.
No, you good. Melanin. M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Melanin. No, yeah, it's melanin. And so when I say melanated, that means that is something that is
That
dark.
has melanin. Yeah.
Right. So now, you have to understand too, okay, so when someone asks you what race you are, what do you say? Right, or black, right? Okay, so understand, guys. Now, what is this? What am I pointing at right here? Huh? What am I'm pointing at my shoe. Okay? Right? I'm pointing at my shoe. What? Okay, now what color is that shoe? Okay. Okay, so do I call it black? What do I call it? I call it a shoe. Because it's a shoe. So why are they calling you black? Why are they calling you what you look like? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's because that's not who you are. That's just what you are. I don't call CJ CJ because he looks like a CJ. I call CJ CJ because he is CJ. You understand what I'm saying? So black, the melanated, that is the absorption of all energy. It's energy. It traps energy. So then when the energy comes in, it can't go nowhere else. It stays within me. So when I'm in the sun, when the sun hits me, the vitamin D's, the vitamin C's, all that stuff that helps, guess who's getting a lot more of it? Exactly, because I'm dark. So it's going to soak in more of that energy. That's cold. The same way the sun shines on a plant. What happens to the plant? Exactly. That's cold.
Right.
Giving that plant cold. So when you see a panther, that is a black leopard that is absorbed energy, right? So that is a difference. It's a leopard and a panther, same thing. It's just a panther is a melanated leopard.
So I want you to think about absorbing energy when you go watch the movie, all right? Because that's going to be something going on in that movie that will be speaking to that, all right? You can hit the next one. All right, so here we're really just giving some more examples of the Amazons who were the women warriors. You can hit the next. So y'all were telling me a little bit about the
Of root, but what color, now what color is the Wonder Woman that's fake and fiction? Right? And then the real one is, okay,
So let me ask y'all this. How many of you all, before this movie, had thought that women warriors were existing? Okay, so there were some of y'all. Do you think that that is common knowledge? That most folks know that there are women warriors? Or armies that are ran by women? So this is information. This is information that is something that could empower people, right? If you see somebody that is looking like you and you see them doing something powerful, it can give you an example of what you can become. If you don't have those examples, then it may be harder for you to imagine yourself doing those things.
Absolutely.
So this is why we want to give you all an example that it's not just, you know, white women who can be on some superhero degrees and have the skills that a warrior has. Not only is it that they cannot, or they are not only the ones that could do that, but they're getting the ideas from people that actually existed that you all are connected to.
Well, and when you guys were telling CJ about the Amazons, you guys were telling this story, right? Y'all were telling CJ this story, right? When he asked, okay, so what is it? Y'all had this in mind, going, okay, she was born by a queen from the Amazonian planet, right? Yeah, you weren't picturing her. You were picturing her, right? Exactly. So the reason why we're doing this is because so you guys know the real history of the real Amazonian women.
You go. Just another example.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm more scared of the one on the right. Who want to take it? Who want to run a fade with her on the right?
I'm good.
You don't want to whoop him from her. When she says go to bed, you go to bed.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we hit this one already.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So here we're really just highlighting some of the famous people in history that were female warriors. Queen Nzinga is someone who y'all should know about. Has anybody heard about Queen Nzinga before in history class or anything like that? Okay. I mean, just to give you understanding, she was one of the fiercest and unconquered, okay? So the folks that try to run up on her and her army got taken out, all right? Just as one example.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Queen Khalifa. So, just to give y'all an idea, what does Khalifa sound like? California. So, what do you think California's named after? This is who California's named after. Okay.
And guys, they really got some really cool stories about her. And let me tell you why this is so true. It's because the Portuguese, when the Portuguese, they were the first to land in South America and the Americas, right? Before the Christopher Columbuses, right? Well, Christopher Columbus, they were before Christopher Columbus. So, with that being said, even they started writing stories about this lady. Even they started writing stories about her because there was, you see, people would do trade, there were trade routes, right? And so, Africa, there were boats coming from Africa, they would go across the sea and hit up South America. And people would tell stories about this lady. And so these Portuguese people started writing stories about her. My point is that the invaders were telling stories about this lady. So you know they weren't even lying. You understand? And that's how powerful she was, that even the invaders respected her, you know?
All right.
This is rock art.
Right, so just to give you an understanding, this is actual drawings on walls of the Queen Khalifa.
And her territory, it was as far as Colorado,
Right.
all the way down to the Pacific Islands, from the Californias, all of that was her territory. Australia, all of that. They said, this, let me tell y'all, you see, y'all know how we can train dogs, right? Y'all know we can train birds, right? Do y'all know that we can also train fish, dolphins? You seen them, right? So do you know that we can also train alligators and whales and sharks the same way? Because this is the beautiful thing when nature and people are out of balance, is that even the animals of the territory of your area, you feed them, you take care of them, guess what they're going to defend? You. Exactly.
Right, right. So when you talk about Hawaii, all of that was her area. So this is what I want to do. It's about time for us to get okay, cool. All right. Just some other examples. All right, cool. So the plan for today is I'm about to get some pizza for y'all, and we're gonna eat. After we get done eating, or maybe while y'all are eating or finishing up, we'd like to get some interviews with y'all to get some thoughts on what y'all thinking about this movie and some of the information that we had here, and then we're gonna head out and check out the movie.